29 weeks to Madiera, so back in the Sports Park Cafe, out looking over the track, my favourite spot where I do envisioning and deep thinking. So obviously quite a lot to update on from Sunday, and I'm wearing my big Maran campus vest that I finally picked up this morning, as I actually technically only finished that properly last week. So how did the competition go? Okay. On the whole, I was disappointed with it. Disappointment stemming primarily from having performed better, measurably better in training beforehand. So there was a kind of performance drop down within competition in the long jump and in the pole vault. So ironically, in both of those, I won the kind of county gold medal. The pole vault because I actually cleared the height. I came out 2 metres, cleared that in the third time of asking, as Andrew Cotter says, and the long jump, where I was jumped out of it by some of the younger guys, but technically speaking, within the adult group, I jumped the furthest. So, and that was a jump of 5 metres and 3 centimetres, which equals my personal best from university championships many years ago. So, obviously, those were disappointing. The high jump was a real positive, jumped 1 metre 60 with the six bound run up. So everything I'd said about that prior to the high jump was true, and it worked fine. And I definitely know I can go higher than that still. So that all went to plan. The shot put again, that was a bit of a disappointment. Only through 8 metres 43 centimetres. Was definitely hoping to go higher than that because that's quite far off the master standard of 11 metres. Obviously, strength is much better conserved with age than some of the more explosive stuff like the long jump and things. So the master standard will be relatively higher, but again, didn't feel like I really got a good connection. Really valuable experience there. And finally, obviously, the big one was the hurdles. Given the history, the background to that, the fact I was out on the track on the Saturday before, I got out, I done a job, I ran over all the hurdles, didn't hit a single one, and sprinted and dipped for the finish, but it was only 10 seconds 49, so we're talking a second and a half off of the Masters merit standard for a 60 metre event, so an indoor event. So that was again a disappointment. I was thinking I was going to be under 10 seconds as long as I showed up and ran a clean race. Didn't really attack the hurdles, was really quite guarded about the whole thing, but that's kind of laying down a mark and I know where to go from there. So yeah, that was all in general quite disappointing. Really necessary experience, and I'll be talking a wee bit more about that going forward. It's definitely not enough to chuck in the multi events. The long jump's a really good example of that, where I've rebuilt the long jump. Just getting low storage notifications on my phone, and I was perfect on the board each time. So I can start extrapolating that out and hopefully go faster and longer and higher with the same technique. Same with the pole vault. So very much feels part of a rebuild. Feels very much developmental. Currently sitting at less than 3,000 points for an indoor heptathlon. Next week I'm going to do this 1,000 metre sprint to see where I'm at, but I'd really have to run 3 metres 15, a whole half minute off of my time that I ran in Belgium in training a few months back in order to hit that 3,000 points mark, which again, that was the minimum I was hoping to hit really. So in terms of the multi-events, I've still got another opportunities to do a long jump or a high jump or a pole vault. where I can kind of backdate that, even if it's outdoors. I can say no, actually that's equivalent, and I can have a look and see if there's still indoor races going on anywhere. I can still consider it to be the indoor season, but so there's a chance I can still meet that 3,000 mark. Just got some food coming here, so I'm going to say thanks. That looks really nice, thank you very much. And tonight I'm going to do my first discus session. That's obviously the first one that I've not yet done. So, some poor nutrition here. Thanks for the food, amen. But obviously, we still need to transition into doing our sprint training and doing 100, 200 metres and seeing where I'm at with those, with a similar sort of training lead in that I've had before to see am I back up to where I would have been before. So, lots to catch up on, but a big thing has been poor sleep and a lot of work stress. Has been the most stressful last weekend of work that I've had for a couple of years, and really did time well. And it took me a long time to get into my competing at the weekend, so that was the real benefit of that first training block that I did, that 3 months, when I said I was going to meet the British Masters standard. When I didn't meet it, and then I came back and ran much better, just with better rest in me, and that's given me encouragement for this block, that I can come back and perform much better in some of these events, hopefully with some of that stress not in the mix. So, catch up a bit later. Lots to think about, lots to work on. I think we're still on track here. I think we've still got a lot more in the tank, and we're still lifting heavy in the gym, which we really need to start tapering down and get some 1 rep maxes and then start getting explosive. So that's yet to all transfer out there. And these young guys that I'm running against, they're not doing a lot of that stuff, to my knowledge. So yeah, we're just going to peak really late. What's the plan? Well, speak soon.